This is a quite very timely event, especially given all the backdrop of Black Lives Matters and all the stuff that we've seen, not just here in the UK, all the protests, but particularly in America. And it shows us that we've got so much more to do. Over probably the half a century, we've made some progress. But if you're a Black young man growing up in England and or in the UK, then that progress isn't good enough. To be honest, there's still elements of discrimination, conscious, unconscious bias, and many Black people face various different kind of challenges to go about with their day-to-day lives. And the issue around inequality is a stark reminder that we've got so much more to do to create society which is based on equal foundations and based on your merits and what you can offer as an individual. And as part of that work around Black History Month, I'm someone that I don't really believe in that context of Black History Month per se. The reason I say that, Black History Month should be part of our day-to-day work, 365 days, not just something that we do. And that is why that as part of our Black History Month season, we called it Black History Month season. So looking from October to December. And as part of that work, we had a range of different activities from artists performing to speakers looking at Black History Month and the contribution. And for me, Black History season is about the celebration, contribution, pioneers of Black communities who have changed the way we live, from education to drama to poetry. And these are elements I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about imperialism because that's not something that I'm interested in. That's somehow it portrays the Black community in a negative light. We want to talk about the contribution and the achievements. And to me, Black History Month is about us come together to celebrate collective achievements and to make sure that we create a foundation for new generation of Black people to fulfill their true potential. And for me, it's when you see elements of inequality and justice, you can't be bystanders anymore. The onus is on us as individuals. Is that we have to, it's no point us just saying, well, I don't really support these. The question is, what exactly are you doing? And for us, I think we have to be counted and we must show dissent in a constructive way, but not through violence or any means, but we've got to stand up and make sure that our voices are heard, not just in our community, but all sections of our society, whether it's in the political system, whether it's in the business community, and making sure that that's really taken into account. And just to give you what the pandemic has shown us is that there is clear elements of structural inequalities, discrimination, and racism. A piece of work that I undertook, Janelle and many others from Camden Council were part of that team, and we produced a report, and we looked at it was a 6 weeks report. We worked in the PACE, we looked at education, we looked at health, and 6 different areas. And what the report is really showing us is that if you are from an ethnic community, I'm afraid you're going to be facing structural inequalities in every aspect of our life, whether it's in health, whether it's in work, whether it's in business. And it shows that despite the Equality Act, despite all the progress, despite the great speech Dr. King and everyone else made, and still it is an unequal. And for me, we need to go around dismantling the unequal, biased, unequal barriers that we face. And that is why that we produced that report and we put mechanism in place to make sure that we deal with this. And part of that piece of work, we also recognize that Black businesses were disproportionately being impacted by COVID-19. The fact that ethnic groups were dying more, ethnic business were more at a disadvantage. And again, that structural inequalities, it is systematic. As part of our work around Camden renewal, the whole idea is looking at post-COVID-19, what can we do? And as part of that work, again, we want to make sure that, you know, black young men are not being let down again. So if you look at sort of all the recessions, you look at the 2008 financial crash, you know, 14% of black young men were unemployed compared to our counterparts, which were about 6-7%. And again, black businesses were also disproportionately being impacted. So as part of our Camden renewal work, we want to make sure that ethnic groups issues were taken into account. There's a particular focus, especially making sure that young black men are not being left behind to defend for themselves, but in terms of local authorities or our partners, we're working to ensure that those issues were really addressed, making sure that, you know, part of our work that we support black businesses. One of the things that I'm hoping to push with the council is looking at how we procure services. Can we procure locally? Can we procure services from black businesses so that we are supporting them in a constructive way? So that's some of the work that we're going to be doing, but also part of our business support will make sure that black businesses are not being disproportionately impacted, making sure part of the recovery that they've been given additional support, and also creating a inclusive growth where, you know, black business are seen integral part of that process. But for me, you know, looking back, is that we'll be facing challenges, but I don't believe in the victim mentality. I believe in being inspired. You know, if you see the inequality, then we as black community, we need to energize. We need to have the resolve to say, well, we're going to be working twice as hard as our counterparts. It's no point having a shoulder down. We have to rise to that game and to that challenge. And I think we owe it to our forefathers, people who were discriminated, systematically being let down, systematically being judged negatively. And we have to create that legacy for our new generation, so that they don't face those challenges. We actively give them a platform where they can focus on fulfilling their true potential. So I'm really pleased that Swiss have come on board, and the founder of Black Pound Day, and that specific tailor-made approach that would support growth and black businesses, which is really important at a time when we are facing so many different challenges. And I very much look forward to, in my capacity as the cabinet member for young people and cohesion and equalities, but most importantly, as a representative of Camden Council, that I want to work with in partnership. I want to see what else that we can do to dismantle those barriers so that black businesses are being supported, black businesses are given those resources so that they can go and do great things. And obviously post COVID-19, perhaps some of the ideas that we can look at whether we should be doing black business award or something, just to sort of recognize. That's something that I'll be really up for discussion. But this is a partnership that I want to work with yourself and see how we can take that forward. I also want to take this opportunity of thanking all council officers and all of you for during this lockdown taking this time and coming in together, working in collaboration, and that will be my commitment that working with you. On that note, I'm going to hand over to Swiss, the founder of the Black Pound Day, to give his kind of perspective for the event. Unfortunately, I'll have to leave because I've just got another meeting that I'm supposed to be attending, but I'll be working with officers just to find out how the workshop went and what are the agreed action points that you have there, so that I can work with yourselves and others to take them forward. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm going to hand over to Swiss now.
Hi everyone, hope you're well. Thank you for attending this event, the Young Black Entrepreneurs event held by Camden Council. I am Swiss. I am going to be your host, and I'm the founder of Black Pound Day. I'm going to speak a bit about Black Pound Day. So Black Pound Day is a day where we're asking all communities to come forward and spend with black businesses on that day. It happens once a month, every month, the first Saturday of every month. And it came off the back of the aftermath of the death of George Floyd. Everybody knows about what happened with the murder of George Floyd, the racial injustice at the hands of the police. And, you know, there was an outcry and an outpouring, a lamenting that was coming from society because of that death. And people began to march in their relative cities all around the world. But particularly in London, I saw in the center of our city, you know, all races coming together to share their emotions about the death of George Floyd. And I was pretty much moved by it. I was trying to stay away from it at first because, you know, there had been previous people that had died at the hands of the police various times. And by the time this death came around, I just made a conscious effort not to engage with that on social media. But as the story started to accumulate, you know, people were letting me know, you have to see the video, you have to see the video. And so I was pushed towards seeing it. So I kind of tracked all of this on my social media. So if you want to go to my social media and see when I first saw the video, I spoke about it and I posted it on SwissWorld_ on Instagram. So when that happened, I decided to bring back a message that I had done previous, like 5 years before, when Eric Garner died. It's a song called Can't Breathe. And coincidentally, it's produced by Sky, one of our speakers today. And I decided to do a video to it because it's almost like, you know, this is reoccurring, the same thing happening. And what kind of got me was, he said, I can't breathe. And that was literally the same thing that Eric Garner said. You know, George Floyd ends up saying the same thing. So my protest was about doing a video on the song, putting it out, and I basically reenacted George Floyd's death. So I played George Floyd. You can watch the video on YouTube. And it almost was like a more digestible way of people engaging with what happened with George Floyd, as opposed to watching the actual 9-minute or so video. And by this time now, I think it's got like 160,000 views on YouTube. And, you know, just loads of people underneath commenting and sharing. So once I did that, I thought to myself, you know what, something else needs to be done. And I think we always thinking that. So the Black Square happened on a Tuesday. 2 Black women in the music industry was protesting through the form of a Black Square and just saying, look, we're going to stop working for a day because we're going to acknowledge not just the racial injustice via the justice system, but, you know, as Councillor High was saying, the plethora of injustices that we face throughout the various domains of society. And as much as the Black Square thing was cool, I didn't engage with it myself because I didn't think it was enough. I thought it was a bit of a soft blow. I kind of sat back and gathered my thoughts and thought, you know what, this is a good time to bring back an idea I had 12 years previous called Black Pound Day, where I could utilize the emotional energy of the people on the ground, part of the protests and the marches, and get them to take their fists out the air and put it in their pocket and spend with Black businesses, because I believe that it's a more sustainable way of engaging with our community and supporting our community. So after that point, obviously, we know that as Black people, we experience racial injustice in various forms. I began to do some research, look at the statistics, and you know, Black people are 18% less likely to get funding from venture capitalist sources than our white counterparts. If you're a Black woman, then you are the least funded in society. There's a pay gap of 3.2 billion in the UK. So if you're BAME, you're at the negative end. If you're white, you're at the positive end of that gap. If you go to the most prestigious universities in the country, then you have to wait up to 2.5 years to get a job equivalent to your degree if you're Black. If you live in a Black household, then and you're Caribbean, you're earning 20p. If you're African, you're earning 10p to every pound the white household makes. And so to echo what Councillor High was saying, you know, the disparities are pretty much apparent. for me personally and us as a group personally as Black people that we go through, but also the statistics back that up as well, you know. So Black Pound Day is a very, very important day for society to give back to the Black community, to try and rebalance the socio-economic injustices that we face as Black people. And it's a platform where us as Black people can engage with ourselves on various levels. So it's a very important day for us. I'm a descendant of the Windrush generation. And so it also became apparent that we were celebrating 72 years of the Windrush arrivals when they docked in Essex at Tilbury in the 40s. It was in June, and we were celebrating 72 years. And then the inverse, or the mirror image, if you like, of 72 years is the 27th. I didn't know this at the time, but I decided to celebrate the first Black Pound Day on the 27th of June, or initiate, you know, the first Black Pound Day on the 27th of June. So I felt like there was a bit much of an alignment there, you know, which makes it even more purposeful for me. And, you know, when we came over during the Windrush time, we came over to help rebuild the country after World War II as economic migrants for this country. They were telling us to come over and help the mother country, you know, build itself back, you know, after the war. And so Black Pound Day is a way of, you know, us in society giving back to Black people, the Black community, the Windrush generation, and the other diverse elements of our community, to give back to us, because I feel like it's deserved. We put a lot into this country. So that's basically for the naysayers that say, why Black Pound Day? The statistics obviously reveal that we are negatively affected by racism, discrimination, bias, and stereotyping. And, you know, it's time for some change. So what better than a change coming from our own community in the form of an economic revolution called Black Pound Day. So I'm going to continue now. I think that was long enough. I'm going to introduce some of our business leaders that are going to be in the breakout rooms sharing their stories with you. And then I will go on to introduce the pop-up business school that's going to give you a taster. So I have Sky Beats with us. He's an artist, music producer, and restaurant owner. Sky Beats has produced music for, as I said earlier, myself, but also leading figures in the music industry, other than myself, the likes of Lady Leisha and Wretch Free 2. Sky Beats also runs a company that creates sauces and owns a cafe named Saucy Soca Cafe in London. I know all this, I don't know why. I'm reading it off. We also have Natalie. She runs a company called Embrace Body Skincare, which is chakra based inspired. So Natalie Vincent created Embrace Body Skincare to be a chakra inspired luxury skincare brand, offering a range of handcrafted body blends designed to soothe your skin and calm your soul. We also have the twins in the building. They run a vegan-based cuisine platform or business called Livity Plantbased Cuisine. And with over 10 years of experience as chefs within the catering industry, Livity, owned by Karima and Kalima, provide flavorful plant-based food. After noticing the lack of healthy, nourishing vegan food in our community, Livity created a brand around offering a variety of dishes and products inspired by traditional Jamaican cuisine and culture. I've tasted their food, it's brilliant. We also have Ayrton Alexis in the building. He's an artist and songwriter. His sound is also about blending stunning melodies with infectious grooves and great beats in order to create a catchy yet direct and edgy sound. Ayrton is fully committed to music, and he has worked with various managements, including DJ She-Devil, Freddy Krueger, and NUA Entertainment. And last but not least, I'm going to hand over to the Pop-Up Business School. They're going to give you a taster workshop. Now, the Pop-Up Business School is a school that is dedicated to support training. Oh, sorry, let me start again. Pop-Up Business School is a business support training company which advocates for an alternative to traditional business startup support. The organization aims to work in specific communities to teach people how to start a business without borrowing money and without a formal business plan, which is very much needed going into, or as we experience this pandemic, especially for young people. So I also want to let you guys know that I'm looking forward to working with Camden Council going forward. I'm sure we're going to come up with some great ideas together in order to serve our community specifically, but I guess also, you know, the diversity of communities that we have under the Camden Council. So I just wanted to mention that. Right now, I'm going to hand over to the business school, and they're going to give you a taster workshop. Thank you very much.
I'm looking past the camera because this is where everybody's face is on my screen. Swiss, thank you for setting that up. Black Pound Day is such an amazing, amazing initiative. And I love how you named it an economic revolution. That is so cool. It's so powerful. That's what we need. That's the sort of thing we need. I love that, Swiss. So just before I crack on, Swiss did mention that the first part of this course, or this call, sorry, is going to be recorded. However, I'm going to ask if you guys are comfortable, I'd love you to put your cameras on, because seeing your faces is the only steer if I'm being funny or not. So it'd be quite nice to be able to see you guys, but obviously don't worry if you don't want to. Cool. So good evening. Thank you so much, guys, for putting this event on. This is really, really cool. I'm super honoured to be invited to come and talk and help. And basically my job for the next 20 minutes is to give you guys as much value as I possibly can. So as Swiss gave the brilliant intro to what we do, we are the Pop-Up Business School. We have travelled for the last 8 years. We have travelled around the UK and other countries delivering startup courses for free to absolutely everybody and anybody who wants to start a business. And our aim, our duty, our mission in life and in business is to make starting a business accessible to absolutely anybody, no matter what your background, what your history, what your story, or your reason. The business is for absolutely everybody, and especially, as Swiss was just saying, in a time like this, as we go into a lockdown, as you know, the economy is doing whatever it's going to do in the next few months. It's so important to be able to have the skills and also the opportunity to be able to start your own thing, because you know, a lot of you in here probably already have your own business. A lot of you are entrepreneurs I know of. Some of you may be thinking about it. Some of you have probably taken a hit over the last few months because it's not exactly been a normal year, has it? Nobody had a global pandemic in their business plan, I can tell you that. So thank you, Emmanuel. I'll put a link to our website in the chat, and we'll talk more about that briefly. So an overview of Pop-Up and what we teach and the way that we make this free and accessible to everybody is we don't believe in the traditional way of starting a business. Traditionally, to start a business, you need to write a business plan, work out how much money you need to borrow to be able to get started. You then go to the bank or whoever's got a pot of cash, you give them that business plan, and if they decide that your business is good enough, they might give you some money. And then after that happens, 2 years later, you've spent the cash, you've hired people, you've bought a building, you've bought all of the stock, and 2 years later, you might make some profit. Is anybody excited so far? No, I can tell. Like, that doesn't work for us. And we know that that doesn't work for most of the UK. And the way that starting a business has completely changed. You don't need money to start a business. You don't need a business plan to start a business. All you need is a good idea and someone willing to pay for it. That is it. The rest can come later. All you need is those two things, an idea and a customer. Because once you've got those, once you've got somebody willing to give you money for your business, that thing that you love so dearly and you're so good at and the world needs to have, that's when you've got a business. And you can worry about the legal stuff, you can worry about the cash, you can worry about the growing stuff later. First, we've just got to get going. So that's in a very quick nutshell, what we do, and we are running courses all the time at the moment, which for us we're so grateful for the opportunity to do that. We actually have just run an event with Camden Council. We finished it about 6 weeks ago. We had over 100 people attend online, and we ran the course online, and it was a huge success, and we can't wait to do more. So we wanted to you know, when Emmanuel invited us to come and hang out for this evening, we jumped at the chance. We'd love to. So what I'm going to do is I want to deliver a piece of content for you that will help you it's going to help you in everyday life, not just business. I'm going to have the business angle, obviously, because that's the only thing I know. But it will help in life. And I'm going to talk about habits and creating strong habits, and habits that will, if you can create positive habits, they will drive you through to success. And obviously, if you like that, please, I want to invite you to any of our events. All of our events are free. They are pre-funded by sponsors like Camden Council, for example. That makes it absolutely free to the end user. So if you want to start a business and you want to come and hang out, please do. I've got a glamorous assistant that I forgot to mention, actually. His name's Jack. He's on the sound desk with a pair of headphones on. Jack's pushing buttons and making cool things come up on the screen for me. So if anything weird happens, please blame him. But if my face malfunctions, that's my fault. So I want to talk to you about habits. Habits are one of the most important things when starting and running a business, because if you don't have good habits installed, you've probably got bad ones. And I mean, to you sat at home now, you've probably got a few habits you can think of that probably don't do you any justice. They probably don't help you every day. And I'm going to go through some examples of what some of that stuff might be. But what I want to help you to do, if I can help you in the next 20 minutes to identify and rip out those bad habits and replace them with habits that drive you forward and drive you through to success in whatever it is you want to do, whether it's when you want to get a job, build a business, find a partner, whatever you want to apply this stuff to. I want to help you do that and as much as possible. And then obviously invite you to come and hang out. So there is this whole thing that, have you ever heard the phrase that if you're doing something you love, you never work a day in your life? Have you heard that phrase before, that sentence? It's complete rubbish. It's just total rubbish. Because even though you're enjoying it and you're doing something cool, days are hard. Things can get difficult. You know, yesterday I was struggling to do anything. I didn't have any motivation and all that kind of stuff. But habits, creating habits, the definition of a habit is something that you do automatically without even thinking about it. And if you install positive habits that keep you making progress, you don't need motivation, you don't need excitement, you don't need energy, because you're doing it anyway. It's an automated thing. So habits are one of the key things that I love talking about and love installing. So yeah, ways that this stuff can be helpful. You know, it doesn't matter if you're trying to do your accounts, if you want to deliver a better service, if you just want a better work-life balance, or you just want to feel on top of stuff, because that's my biggest thing. As long as I feel on top of my life, I usually feel quite happy. It's when the work starts to pile up. It's when all of this stuff that I haven't done starts to come up and my to-do list keeps growing. That's when I start to feel unhappy and like I'm not productive. So, so habits are a really, really great way of helping you guys do that. So I mentioned you can have good habits, but you can also have bad habits. And now please put in the chat, you know, please put some examples, or good or bad habits that you guys have. Because I'd love to know, I'd love to interact with you guys and, you know, actually talk about things relevant to you, because otherwise I'll just keep talking. Nobody wants that. So I've got some examples, some good and bad habits here. Jack, he's going to put a graph up on the screen, straight down the middle. Here we go. So some examples of some good habits. Meditation every morning. I don't do this. I don't have the energy to do this. I like staying in bed for an extra 10 minutes, but meditation every morning might be one for you. Manuel, you work too late. Yeah, I agree with that. That's me. Regular admin work for your business, sticking to a health regime, a book a month, or a growth project. Regular water breaks, that's something that Simon, our CEO, does. He has an alarm every hour that goes off reminding him to drink water. I don't know how that man runs a business, because if you need to be reminded to drink water throughout the day, how do you do anything else? But that works for him. You know, fruit for breakfast, all that kind of stuff. You know, we all know what good habits look like, and good habits sometimes can feel quite unachievable, can't they? Because, you know, everybody knows you've got to do exercise. Everybody knows you've got to eat well. Everybody knows you've got to do that kind of stuff, but they're not always that easy to do and that easy to install. And one of the things I've noticed, and I will talk about more of this in a second, is that to make room for a good habit, we need to remove some of the bad ones. Because normally what's happening is that you've got conflicting ideas. You love the idea of having a better diet, but unfortunately you've got in the habit of getting the pot noodles off the bottom shelf in Tesco's. You know, we need to rip out some of those bad habits so that we can positively install some of those good ones. So you guys have been putting some stuff in the chat. I'm just going to look at that now. Marissa says, lack of focus when there's loads of things to do. Yeah, Marissa, like there's probably a few of us suffer from that. You're not alone, is the good thing there. It's quite interesting because when you try and do everything, you don't really do anything properly, do you? You sort of put 10% of energy into every single job, you're only going to get 5% of the results. So there's definitely some habits we can install to help you focus a little bit more, do one thing at a time. Francis is the same, I do too much. DNA says, bad habit, putting something off for the next day a bit too often. Yes, you've read my slides, DNA. I only made them about half an hour ago, so how did you do that? I'll do it tomorrow. I say this quite often, and it's really bad. It is a really bad habit because, well, no, let me reframe that. It can be a bad habit depending on what you're saying it about. Because if the task in hand doesn't add value, it can be shifted tomorrow. You need to make sure you're doing the most valuable thing at any one time. But the habit is when you do it to everything. The habit is when it becomes a blocker. The bad habit, sorry, is when you don't do some of the other stuff you need to do because you're using it. I'll do it tomorrow. It's such a horrific sentence, and I actually try and catch myself out from saying it because you know, I'll do it tomorrow, because then tomorrow comes and I still don't do it, and then it becomes the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then it suddenly becomes next week, and next month, next year. So yes, we need to. One thing that is really good for that is tuning into what you're saying and correcting yourself or questioning yourself when you say it. So you know, if you hear yourself go, I'll do it tomorrow. The thing I do is go, or I could do it now, and I don't have to do it tomorrow. You know, it seems simple. It seems really simple, and I know it's a difficult thing because if we knew how to get out of these bad habits, if it was easy, we'd already have done it by now. So it's just catching those stuff. Yes, Rachel says bad habit, impulse spending. Yes, money. There's a lot of positive and negatives wrapped up in money. A lot of time it's a negative thing. But I've got good news. Money is good. We like money because money enables us to do things. Cool. So here are some of my examples of some bad habits. We've got, I'll do it tomorrow, excuse making. How many of you guys have got that one friend who's always got a 5-star excuse every time you want to do something, or every time they don't do something? Absolutely kills me off. You can have a bad diet, or actually the word diet is a bad habit. You never heard that? Everyone says, oh, I need to go on a diet, or, you know, I need to find the right diet for me. Everyone's on a diet. That's what eating is. It's a diet. Sometimes we're just not on the right one. So, you know, just the use of that word can be a bad habit. Procrastination, binge watching, binge scrolling. I'm a massive one for this. I know Jack in the team is as well. He's always on Reddit and Instagram. And checking your phone when you wake up. How many of you guys do this? How many of you guys check your phone? That's the first thing you do every morning. The alarm goes off. You pick your phone up and then it's straight into Instagram, straight into emails. Yeah. It's, again, habits, bad habits, good habits, it's all subjective. I've got an out of the phone habit. Yeah, nice one, Janelle. I wish I did. Can you teach me how? Let me know how you did it. Habits are a really subjective thing, because I'm looking at this list of bad habits in front of me, and actually, it's not always the worst thing. Actually, you know, binge watching, that's a habit that I need to install into my life because I don't do it enough. I work constantly. I need to install a bit of Netflix in my life so I can chill out and stop working all the time. Emmanuel, do that as well. Put some Netflix, please. Go turn Netflix on now, mute your camera. There's some good series on. You know, so all this stuff is subjective. Now, nobody can tell you whether your habit is good or bad. Only you can decide that. And only you can decide that based on the outcome of that habit. So that's what I want to help you with today. And I'd urge you, you know, if you're in a safe environment to do so, and by that I mean if you're not driving a car or anything like that. And also if you've got people around, you know, this can be quite uncomfortable. When we're being honest with ourselves and we want to try and rip out bad habits, we don't want other people to know about it sometimes, and that's okay. So I'd urge you, if you're in the right position to do it, please write down your good and bad habits. Award yourself for the good ones and identify the bad ones, because you can't rip out a weed if you don't know it's there. So please note this stuff down, and feel free to do it while I'm talking, because I might touch on some other stuff for you. So this is the main thing for me, is about catching bad habits. It's about catching bad habits, because once you're aware of it, you can then see it when it happens. I think it was DNA who put in there, I'll do it tomorrow, for example. Like, if you are aware that that is a bad habit of yours, you are much, much more likely to actually catch yourself when you do it. And that is the biggest way of ripping these things out, is just being aware of it. Because then you can decide what your reaction is going to be. Because there are some days where you say, I'll do it tomorrow, and that's perfectly fine. Take a break. If you're tired, if you haven't got the energy, take a break. Go do something else. But make sure it is the first thing you do tomorrow. Don't do anything else until that happens. But by catching the bad habit, it becomes really easy to rip that thing out, because then you're aware of it and you can catch yourself doing it. And you almost see yourself in a third person. So when you find yourself checking your phone in the morning, maybe set an alarm. Here's something that I've done before. I've set an alarm 5 minutes after my actual alarm, because my habit was I pick my phone up and then I'm half awake still, scrolling, not really reading anything. I'm just looking at this bright light, for some reason, torturing myself first thing in the morning. I haven't even opened the curtains yet. And then an alarm would go off 5 minutes later going, get off your phone, right? It's things like that. It's just installing these prompts. But by admitting the bad habit or the good habit, we're able to notice it a lot more, and we're able to rip that thing out. And then we can figure out the tools. And I'm going to give you a few tools, how we can maintain this stuff. So this is one thing I want to ask you now, is I want to know what your habits are going to be. And obviously we're talking about businesses specifically, but please also take this for life as well. I want to know what your business habits are going to be. Please write in the chat what your habits are going to be. I want to hold you accountable. I'm going to ring you tomorrow and make sure you're doing it. So here are some possible examples you might have for some business habits. It might be I'm going to send 25 tweets a day. It might be I'm going to send 25 emails. I'm going to make 5 phone calls. I'm going to meditate in the morning. I'm going to do some exercise. I'm going to do my accounting. I know for you small business owners in there, this might be the bottom of your list of things to do, but regular accounting will save you a lot of trouble, I can promise. It might be clean the house. Clean the house. I don't know about you, but as soon as my desk is clean, I feel much better able to get on with my job, when it's covered in stuff. And this is the big one for any of you with a small business: sales activity. If sales activity is not a habit that you form for your business, it's going to get really difficult to make yourself do that when you're having a bad day. You need to create that sales habit, because if you're not flexing that sales muscle regularly and you're not sending emails, you're not making phone calls, you're not putting your business out there, it's not going to grow quite as quickly as we'd like it to. So a sales habit is really, really positive. So please, in the chat, please put your habits in. What habits are you going to create? I'd love to know, and I'd love to hold you accountable. I think that'd be great. One of the habits that I've just introduced to my life is a HIIT workout. I've just introduced exercise every day because I haven't been doing it and I've been feeling groggy, and I know that that's my problem. So I've started doing that, and I'm punishing myself when I don't do it. Right, here we go. So 5 engaging posts a week, weekly emails to customers. I love that. A calming bedtime routine. Yes, that's it. Get some of that audio stuff going. If you've got a pair of headphones or a speaker in your room, I definitely recommend some evening meditation stuff. Skybeats, outsourcing tasks that can be done by anyone to free up my time. Yes, Skybeats, that is something that I'm terrible at. I'm terrible at that, and I'm going to do that. I'm adding that to my list now. That's amazing. Emmanuel, try and read a book a month. I love that. I've got a couple of books I'm going to recommend about this stuff. So hopefully that'll be good for you. Janelle, I'm going to write a to-do list every morning. Yeah, that's great. That's a really good one. I need to allow at least 2 hours a day to do some research. Yeah, Francis, that's a great one. That's a great idea. No social media. Yeah, social media can be an interesting one because it can be such a powerful tool for our business, can't it? But it can also be a massive distraction. It's about doing it in equal measure. I usually give myself half an hour of business social media-ing a day if I have the energy. So I've got a couple of things I want to blast through, and I'm going to really blast through this stuff here. And this one, the Jack's going to put on the screen for you. This one is probably one of the most important for us, and this is language related. Any of you that have studied NLP or neuro-linguistic programming before is going to recognize some of this stuff. But basically, that's just a fancy way of saying the things we tell ourselves alter the action that we take. So here's my challenge to you. I want you to realize or pick up when you're using things like phrases like this. I want to, I'll try, I should, I need to, I must, I will. Because all of those things, I'm not certain. By saying things like, I need to take the washing out, that doesn't say you're going to do it. That just says I need to. You're aware of the fact you need to do it. It doesn't mean you're going to do it. The language that we use when we use things like this is not encouraging us to actually take that action. So this is my challenge to you. I want you to get rid of those pieces of language from your vocabulary, and I want you to reinstall I am. I am taking the washing out. I am going to send 25 tweets. I am going to ring my customer and sell them my business products immediately so that I can make some money and go and have fun. And they can deal with all my other problems in style. Replace it with I am. It's such a powerful, empowering thing to be able to do, because when you can motivate yourself through this habit, you're unstoppable. You're absolutely unstoppable. So just before I leave you, I want to go through these. I want to give you 7 tools. So I've got 7 tools of how to maintain habits. And this works both ways. If you want to maintain a bad one, these will work for that as well, but I wouldn't advise it. So I want to give you 7 tips on how to maintain these installed habits that you want to have with your business or for your life. My first one is this: it's calendar. Now this is mainly for a business one. Feel free to use a calendar for your personal life as well. Jack, if you whack this up on screen for me, this is my calendar the week that we ran the Camden event. I don't give myself any time off, but this really helps me know where I need to be at any one time. Because when you're presenting a course and you're delivering stuff and you're talking to people and you're having these amazing conversations, it's really easy to forget that you've booked in a phone call with another client, and so on, and so on and so on. So I use my calendar a lot for this. So I'd recommend put everything in your calendar. The light version for this is phone reminders. I guarantee pretty much everybody on this call has a smartphone, and your smartphone can remind you of things. You can literally talk to it. You can ask it questions. You can ask it to remind you when you get home to do a certain thing. So I'd recommend talk to your phone. Sometimes it can look a bit sad, but it's okay. Don't worry, you're not alone. Put phone minders in. This one, writing it down. Get in the habit of writing things down. My biggest challenge when I'm in meetings or I'm on calls or I'm learning things is that I forget to make notes, and then I forget what actions I need to take. So writing things down, it installs the action in your brain in a different way, because you're using a different motor function to register it. You're not just using your ears and your eyes. You're actually thinking about it and you're feeling this stuff. So writing it down, it's another way of installing the task or the habit. This one's quite interesting. And this one I really want to promote with you guys is be accountable. Be accountable for the habit. Be accountable for the action being taken. Tell someone else. Ring your mum, ring your brother, ring whoever. Tell them that you're going to make 5 phone calls a day and get them to ring you back at the end of the day and ask if you did it. Because I guarantee it's so much harder to disappoint someone else than it is to disappoint yourself. So if you have accountability, if you've got someone to hold you accountable for your actions and for the things you need to do, or that you say are important, you're much more likely to do it. Much more likely to do it. This is one that I do, and I do this about 4 times a day. I have this question that comes up in my calendar, and it reminds me, like I say, 4 times a day, my phone asks me this. It says, is the task that you're doing, is it a distraction or is it actually adding value? Because there's so many times that I find myself dealing with emails that I don't need to be replying to. I'm dealing with problems that are not my problem to solve. Like Sky Beats was saying, these things could be outsourced. I shouldn't be doing this stuff. And it's the same with all of you. You've all got stuff in life that you do where you probably shouldn't, because you've got more important things. There's more value you can be adding in a different way. This one really jogs me. This breaks my pattern. This breaks my flow. It interrupts me 4 times a day, and it just makes me double check and reevaluate, is what I'm doing actually valuable, or is it just wasting time? Number 6 is lead, don't wait. Do not wait for someone else to do something. And this is a positive habit that I would actually ask you to install, is make the first move. Be first across the line. If your friends want to hang out, call them first. If you want to go sell something, call the customer, sell it to them. If you've got an idea, get it done first. Don't wait for someone else, because if you wait for someone else, you're going to be waiting for a very, very long time. Very long time. So lead, don't wait. This one sort of invites me to talk about pop-up business school and what we build. So when we run our courses, we build a peer supporting community, and we want people to help each other, because the way our business works is we came to Camden, we had an amazing event, we inspired a bunch of people, and then we went to Brent Cross and we ran one in Barnet. So we don't want people to be waiting for us to take action. We want them to be waiting for each other. We want them to be leading each other and peer supporting. So if you want to come to any of our events, and I'll talk about these in a second, you will get the chance to participate in a community of like-minded individuals trying to start and build small businesses. And I would urge you to do this. You've probably got people in your network that want to do similar things to you. They want to achieve similar things. Build an accountability group and participate in the community. Get involved. Lead that community, because you're so much more likely to get more opportunity and do some amazing things when you're in that position. Cool. So I've got 2 books that I want to recommend to you. They're quite popular books. You might have heard them. You might have even read them already. And that is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'd recommend that. Emmanuel, please read that this month, and then read the next book the next month. Atomic Habits. So the guy called James Clear, he has basically been studying habits for his entire life. He's actually more interesting than he sounds, but the stuff that he's done is actually really, really incredible. He does some amazing work around how to create habits, how to maintain habits. but also he looks at other things like how you tie certain roles to certain parts of your house, so that, you know, that desk is when you're working, but as soon as you're on the sofa, that's when you're chilling out, and no business enters the bedroom and all that kind of stuff. So James Clear, Atomic Habits is an extremely good book. And the other one is The 4-Hour Work Week by a guy called Tim Ferriss. Yeah, there we go. Rihanna's reading that already. The 4-Hour Work Week, it's not necessarily about habits, but habits are a huge part of it. And it's about escaping the normal. It's about coming out of the everyday so that you can better plan out life and business. The 4-Hour Work Week is really good. It's quite a big book, but it's full of cool stuff. So I hope that's been useful. I'm used to delivering 6 hours of content a day rather than 30 minutes. So this was a really nice challenge to have. So thank you guys for that. We put up on screen, Jack's put up on screen our website link. And I would love to invite you guys to any of our upcoming events. We're running events pretty much every week now until March. So and we run them all over the place. They are, in theory, for specific areas, but obviously we worked with Camden Council a few weeks ago. So I'd openly invite any of you, find one of our events that work for you in terms of dates. They're all online. Please sign up. Come and hang out for a week or two, and we want to help you guys be successful. We want to help you get unstuck, figure out the next move. We want to help you guys. Thank you for having me, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved it.
Thank you very much there, Henry. I took me notes. Gave us a lot of good advice there, a lot of good business advice and personal too. So as I said, we've got Sky Beats and Natalie Vincent from Embrace Body Skincare, Karima and Kalima from Livity Plantbased, Ayrton, Alexis, singer-songwriter. And make sure you guys got your notepads there, take notes, and enjoy yourselves. We're going to go into the breakout rooms now. Thank you very much. How you doing, everyone? I hope you had good sessions with your relevant business leaders and got a plethora of information from them. I'm going to make sure I get onto them after, don't worry, just to see if they gave you everything you needed. You know, mentoring and hearing the experiences of business people in sectors that you're involved in or maybe not is so important, you know. So again, we thank Camden Council for putting on this event for young Black entrepreneurs. I'm very happy to be hosting myself, Swiss. And at this present time, I'm going to ask our what will be now panelists, our business leaders, to answer a few questions. So I'll ask a question, and if you guys just take a minute to answer each, then that would be great. So my first question is, and I'd like you to answer in alphabetical order. So Ayrton, you can go first. Yeah. And then we will have Embrace Body Skincare. I'm going to go by what my list is saying, by the way. Then we'll have Livity Plant-Based, then we'll have Sky. Yeah. So if we answer in that order. So so Ayrton, you go first. Ayrton, did you go to any particular business classes or take any courses to get to where you are today on your business journey?
I wouldn't say I went to any particular classes or anything, but the internet is full of so much information and I study every single day. Like, there's more than enough free information out there for you to look into.
Thank you. Natalie from Embrace Body Skincare, same question. Did you go to any particular business classes or take any courses to get to where you are today in your journey?
I went to a couple of courses at the British Library, as well as doing some other free courses with Virgin Startup as well. But much like Ayrton, I did just a lot of research and information on YouTube and other business websites as well.
Thank you very much. Livity Plant-Based?
For us, well, we've got quite a lot of training because we train to be chefs straight out of school. So we did 3 years training, and then we worked in London restaurants for 10 years. So business wise, that's like the cooking side of stuff. Business wise, we did the Prince's Trust for a while, which kind of it showed us what we need to be looking at. It wasn't like in depth, but it made us able to be able to do our own research. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Mr. Sky Beats, same question.
Hey, okay, cool, man. No, not exactly. I did pass through the Prince's Trust, more on the side of financials. I needed to get ahead on finance and understand that a bit better, tax information, etc. But in terms of business schooling, no, I didn't really. I mean, I came from the school of hard knocks, bro. So I was the guy in school that was selling CDs. You know what I mean? So I kind of got a feel for how things run in business, and that helped me.
So more of an underground approach, basically.
Yeah. Hands on. Let's roll.
Hands on. Yeah. Just like our chefs. Ayrton, what business resources would you recommend? Are there any particular ones online that you seek out that you could share with us?
Depends on what your industry is, really, to be honest. In terms of business, an actual business, YouTube, Udemy, they've got good courses, definitely. But it depends what you're doing. There's courses out there for everything. There's websites there for everything. Google is your friend. Google is your best friend. If you learn how to use Google, do a course on Google. Learn how to use Google properly. And once you know how to do that, you can do anything on the spot.
I agree with that one,
Yeah, I'm going to mention a bit about Google later. All right, then. So we're going to our next question. I'll start from back to front this time. So I'm going to start with Sky. What do you think is the biggest blockage barrier in starting a business? Personal blockages such as lack of confidence or commitment, or external blockages such as lack of access to market, high competition, lack of support?
I think, look, I'm going to say overcomplicating the process. It's A and B. This is the business, and this is who the business is aimed at. And we kind of we overcomplicate everything in between. I think it's personal. It's definitely personal. People are not confident in themselves. They're worried about failure. And again, if you're just constantly worried about doing something, you tend not to do it. And my advice in that section is to just get up and start. Once you start, the process rolls on, and you move into the next sector, and you overcome those hurdles, and so forth and so forth and so forth.
So kind of just getting past your thinking, not being, you can get intertwined and get caught in your own web sometimes. Yeah.
And between us, we've done that many times. But you got to overcome those. Self-doubt is a dangerous thing, man. It will store you longer than you need to be stored. But yeah, you just get on with it. That's the best advice I can give to anybody. Get on with it.
Good. Kalima, what would you say? What do you think is your biggest blockage? Is it personal? Was it business? Was it like external? Maybe like friends, family, community?
I would personally say two main important things, which would be the self-doubt. It's like you can talk yourself out of things so easily, and we spent literally years talking ourselves out of certain things, and then it took a situation to happen, me literally deciding I had enough of work and walking out on my job for me to be where I am now. So I would just say, if you're thinking of something and you feel like you have not even you have the confidence, you feel like you're good enough to do it, or you know that you have the skill to do it, just do it. Like, it's really that simple. Like, otherwise you just be like sleeping on your dreams. The second one would have to be support. It's like, I feel like no one wants to support you until they see your name out there. It's like when you have an idea, people are so quick to try and dismiss it, try and belittle it. And yeah, we like doing that in our community sometimes, like sometimes I feel like that because we're so used to that, the normal way, the 9 to 5, the things like that, is that when people want to step out of the box, you're almost looked at as if
Why
you're
they
weird.
doing that?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, why can't you just like go the route that everyone else is, kind of thing. So yeah, but don't let it get to you, man. Like, even my parents, like, there's been stages where my father would be like, what are you doing? Why are you going to cook? Like, what girl goes into a kitchen to cook? Like, what is that? Go uni, da 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 da. And I just like, I said, no, I'm not doing it. I know what I want to do. And I feel like sometimes people that are like our parents, yeah, will advise certain things for you, but it's more because of something they haven't done. Like, do you know what I mean? So like, they haven't gone uni, so they want you to go uni. But then that uni, how is it beneficial to what you want to do in the long run? Like, me going to university and wanting to be a chef wouldn't have helped me. Like, see what I'm saying? So just follow your instinct, follow your dreams, and don't let anyone persuade you otherwise.
Yeah, I
Kalima,
second
that was
that. I
beautiful.
second that.
Kalima, do you want to add to that at all?
No, I think you covered it all pretty much.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I usually say, I said the other day to someone, you know, you have power over your own inspiration at the end of the day.
Trust.
No one can control your inspiration but you, and that came to you for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to just block out the outer voices, listen to the inner voice. As Henry was saying earlier, meditation is important. It's important to create a space of silence in your own mind and listen to your own voice and go with your own intuition. And that's what I did with basically Black Pound Day. You know, it was an intuitive, I call it intuitive, impulsive inspiration. And I moved on it, and the result is here now, you know. And, you know, one of the biggest economic movements to come from the UK for our community. So there you go. Natalie, same question to you. Natalie, what would you say has been your biggest blockages? Would they be personal or external?
I think my biggest blockage personally was self-doubt, was thinking about, will people get my product concept? Will they understand what it's about? Will they support it? But what I found was that once I took it to market, it flew, like it went really well. And then I think in terms of external things, I think it was just more support. I think it was just more about finding like childcare and figuring out how to do the logistics of just the day-to-day things, as well as balancing creating and growing a business, really.
Yeah, because as a parent, it can be hard sometimes.
Yes, it's definitely a tricky balance, but you know, you do what you have to do when you're passionate about things. So
exactly.
You know.
Yeah, man. Ayrton, same to you, brother. Biggest blockages, personal hurdles.
The delusion, man. Looking at things for what they're not. The quicker, like, the more I look at things, and obviously it's a process, but the more I seem to look at the world for what it is, the less complicated, like Sky says, things actually are. Like, especially when I started what I did young, and like when you're young, you think you've done a lot more than you have, and you're thinking like, why can't I see like the fruits of like what I have not planted? But really and truthfully, like, you could just do a lot and you will get what is coming. Honestly, like, if you do stuff, you will definitely get stuff back. And more time, you think you're doing more than you are. And I'm not saying that to discredit, because there's some people are doing a lot, but I've been there before, and you think you're doing more than you are. When you actually look from the outside in, you haven't done that much. And that's probably why things aren't really taken off. Most people see you doing a lot will get involved. If they actually see you're doing a lot, they'll probably jump on board with it.
Great. And for my last question, this goes for all of you. I'm going to go back the other way now. So Ayrton, you can go first. If you could give one piece of advice to our young people today in the forum, what would be, in one sentence, to encourage them in their business journey? What would it be? One sentence. It doesn't have to be one, but it's digestible. Just make it concise.
First of all, don't overcomplicate it. And second of all, do something you love so that you can be yourself, because it's easy to be yourself.
Definitely. I think that speaks to what Karima was saying about, you know, it's easy to go with the narrative of following your parents, what they want to do. But sometimes they're speaking from their fears, from what they, you know, couldn't do themselves. So they want you to just follow the social narrative of, you know, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, get a job, Jay-Z even said the same thing. Jay-Z said his uncle said, like, man, you think you can sell 1 million records? Like get out of here, like, kind of thing. But obviously, one thing about being a young person is you see the world differently. How you view the world and how your parents view the world is totally different. So you see the world changes, you see a lot more opportunities than they do, and you run with the spirit of your time, which is different to theirs. So definitely follow your own inspiration. Natalie, one piece of advice.
I would say that failure isn't really failure. It's a lesson and it's an opportunity to grow and pivot. And you just got to just go with it, because whatever happens, like good or bad, you're going to learn, and you just got to pay attention to the lessons.
And what do you do if you find yourself, I know I'm not supposed to be asking another question, but let me go ahead. If you find yourself repeating the same learning process, you know, something that you should have learned from, you're going through it again, what do you do? You
just got to stop and just take you just got to stop and take stock of what you're doing, because if you're going through the same process again and again and you get the same outcome, you've got to change something. There's something in your methodology that isn't working for you, and unless you stop and take stock of what it is, you got to examine the process and go, well, does this work? Yes or no? Does this work? And then you just got to tweak it and just kind of go, okay, well, if I change one thing at a time and work your way through, once you do that, like things will change, like things will be different, there will be a different outcome, but you have to have that stillness, you know, much like you're saying about the meditation, but to stop and take stock of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and is it working for you?
Thank you very much. Fiona, this is for young people, by the way. Oh, this is for all ages. So not just young people. So I apologize. Kalima, a piece of advice each from yourselves. I know you're twins, so don't say the same thing.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. When I speak to people, I'm speaking from, like, I mainly people that are coming from the same background as us. So I always just say, please, like, it's so easy to be a victim of your circumstance. So easy to see people around you not doing certain things, but don't let that affect you. If you've got a dream, if you've got something, just stick to it. Like, do you know what I mean? Especially young parents, that's close to my heart. As a young mum, you might think, oh my God, my life's over. It's really not. If you've got something and you focus on it, you can make it happen. And that's, like, speaking from experience. This ain't just talking to talk. So yeah.
Karima?
My piece of advice would be just go for it. Like, go for whatever it is that you want to do, just implement it into your life. Take the steps that you need to make it a full-time career or whatever. Just, don't give up on your dream, innit? Because this world will do that to you sometimes. It will literally make you want to give up on certain things, but just don't do it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Sky Beats.
Okay, bro. Can I be cheeky and say two things, because they're actually very important. These two things. If I could have been here where I am probably 10 years earlier if I'd known this information and taken it seriously. So the first one is, don't be afraid to get things wrong. You're never going to get things 100% right. Just know you're going to get things wrong, and be prepared to take in that information and work on that. And the second thing is, look at your friendship groups and those that are around you, those that you're telling your ideas to and how they react. And if it's not feeding you, change them. It sounds hard or whatever, but it's really important that you have people feeding into your energy rather than taking from you all the time, and making and elevating you. So those are the two things I say. Be around people that are positively on the incline.
Yeah, boundaries. Boundaries are important, man.
Yeah.
I know Henry spoke about swapping good habits with bad habits. And a good one for me is creating boundaries, you know. So very important, very important. Stick to your boundaries, create those boundaries, you know, so it can insulate you and allow you to focus on what you're doing. And some people get, you know, you have friends that get angry, or you have friends that want to, you know, say certain things like, well, Maman's acting different now. Maman thinks he's this, or my girl thinks she's that, because you've created those boundaries. But at the end of the day, you have to focus on yourself sometimes, you know. As they say, you was born alone, you will die alone, you know. not to get too somber, but you know what I mean. That's the best way I could put it at that time. So yeah, people, we're coming to the end of this now. I know these guys. I've interacted with them on a business level. As I said, with Livity Plant-Based, I've tasted their food. It's some great healthy food. I was vegan 7 years. I say was because I eat fish now. Girls, don't no. I do eat fish now, but my diet's still predominantly vegan. So I've been part of the vegan community for a very long time. Before it was trendy, yeah. And these ladies have got some really lovely foods, Caribbean style. So they're very much flavored in the taste of the Black experience, but it's just healthier versions. So I would say definitely look these ladies up. Ladies, can you give your social media quickly, please?
Our social media handles across the board is Livity Plant-Based Cuisine. So if you just type that in, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Also our website as well is www.livityplantbasedcuisine.co.uk.
Thank you very much. Ayrton, I've worked with Ayrton a lot. This guy is I guess more than 10 years younger than me, I think. But he's a workaholic. He's wise beyond his years, workaholic, very focused, very methodical, but very creative as well, which means he's using his right and left brain simultaneously when it needs to be utilized. And a very big inspiration, you know. He's got a skill set that is varied. And in the field that I work in, someone like Ayrton is very valuable. So I'll say check Ayrton out. What's your socials, my brother?
Everything is my name. Everything, you should be able to see everything under my name.
So it's Ayrton Alexis on social media, yeah?
Yeah. Or AyrtonAlexis.com, and then everything will be there.
Innovator. Sky Beats. I met Sky after I'd done a behind bars for Link Up TV. And Rashid, the owner of Link Up TV, introduced me to Sky. And from there, we've done some culture shifting stuff, man, some really great stuff. And Sky, as I said, like I said with Ayrton, he's a workaholic. He knows his craft, very methodical, but very creative. Very, he pours into you a lot, you know, very inspiring when it comes to bringing the best out of you. You know, when I'm in the booth and I'm doing music with Sky, very patient, very understanding, and a creative help that brings the best out of me. So thank you very much, Sky, for being on the panel. Please give us your socials, brother.
Okay, cool. It's at Sky Beats. What I'm going to do, though, I'm going to type all the websites in just now so you can get them on the chat. They're all there for you, just so you can just copy and paste them if you need to. Yeah.
Wicked. Say it for the camera, though. Say it for the camera.
At Sky Beats, at Sky_Beats on Instagram, at Saucy Silk on Instagram, and at Craft House, spelt with a K, on Instagram.
Thank you very much, sir. Natalie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. So last but not least, Natalie, where do I start? You know, gives me a lot of great advice, pours into me so much. A champion of what I do. You know, when I started Black Pound Day, Natalie was one of the first people I called, just to share the energy and kind of let her know what was going on. And as soon as I started speaking, she started taking notes without me even knowing. Halfway through the conversation, I'm like, Nat, can you write this down? She's like, it's done already. I'm like, what? Do you get what I'm saying? Everyone needs a person like Natalie, just so on point. Very methodical. I know I've said that for the last 3 people, but it's true. Being methodical, logical, having those traits, you know, the academic prowess, very articulate, and such a gem to have in my life. So I just want to thank you, Nat, for always pouring into me, and continue to do what you're doing with Embrace Body Skincare, because it's a very ethical brand, obviously vegan friendly. And so, you know, you're a game changer. So thanks for being on the panel, and please give us your socials.
Well, thank you for that, Pierre. Swiss even. So My socials are at Embrace Body Skincare. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. But I'm mostly on Instagram, to be honest, guys. Limited amount of time. And my website is www.embracebodyskincare.co.uk.
Thank you very much. So yeah, we've come to the end of our session. Black Pound Day, I'm going to speak a bit about that again, just to tail off. So we're into our 5th Black Pound Day. The next one is this Saturday. And the way how you can help support that is spending with a black business on the day. When you spend with that black business, or when, you know, service or product, you get the product, you take a picture of the business or the product, you post that on social media, let us know about the product, hashtag Black Pound Day, and share that recommendation with a friend or family. And that's going to help to continue the movement. Supporting black businesses is so important at this time. We are affected the most by what we're going through in this pandemic right now. And so we need the support from our own community. Who doesn't want to turn up to their own party? And Black Pound Day is a way of turning up to your own party and supporting your own community. And that's what we're here to do, you know, because we want to create an infrastructure where, you know, we can be surrounded by the black experience and pour into ourselves in the way that is best for ourselves. Do you get what I'm saying? And I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs here today, and you guys can contribute to that by making sure that you develop and focus on your business, utilizing Black Pound Day to share your product or service. Get your assets ready. If you do have a product, let people know you're doing discounts or whatever you do, and be a part of that traffic that happens on the day, because lots of people have told me that they've benefited wildly of Black Pound Day. I know 2 businesses personally that have said they've made 5 figures off Black Pound Day, you know. So we're going into the thousands there. So yeah, man, be a part of the movement, be a part of the moment and the movement, you know. And even though it's not a movement, it's not a moment, it is a movement. You can also self-submit your business on Black Pound Day website. That's blackpoundday.uk. And yeah, man, just share the blessings and let people know if you do speak about tonight's event on social media. Camden staff, is there a hashtag for this event? Make sure you guys hashtag and let people know about the event and let them know what a beautiful event that Camden has put on for you guys. So again, I thank you lot. Thank you very much for attending. Peace out. Follow me on social media at SwissWorld_, at BPD official. That's Black Pound Day on Instagram, and at Black Pound Day on Twitter. Thank you very much.